Hello there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I love a good cup of coffee, don't you? Um, I talk a lot with players of Dungeons and Dragons on Facebook. And the vast majority of these players play the later editions, 3.5, 5, 4th, that kind of thing. Very few people play 4th. A lot of them play 5th. And full disclosure, I have never played 4th or 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. The latest edition I have ever played is 3.5, and that's about my limit. My son runs a really great 3.5 edition game, but I don't enjoy running it. I don't mind playing it. I like playing it, especially with him. He's a great dungeon master. But I don't like running it because there are too many rules, and the player characters are really powerful. In my opinion, this creates power players instead of role players. And what I mean by that is there's a lot more hack and slash and a lot less thinking. But again, this is my opinion. If you enjoy 3.5, go after it. Do your thing. You're better than I am. The argument that these other players constantly give against first edition Dungeons and Dragons is that it limits the players and is difficult to succeed at. And my response is, duh, yeah. When you roll up a godlike first level player character, why do you need to adventure? If you can do everything and you have all these abilities, I mean, it's not, to me it's not fun. It's not as fun. But beyond that, anyone who can read and reason and has half a brain cell can use the rules in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to make their character very formidable, even at first level. Let me elaborate on this. The argument that I get a lot is, in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, magic users, they only get one spell per day, and after that, they're just crappy fighters. That's the argument I get. They only have 1 to 4 hit points, and then they only get one spell a day, and blah blah blah. And that's just lazy nonsense. It really is. A cursory reading of the first level spells will reveal that at least 2 spells, Magic Missile and Shocking Grasp, have unclear durations listed. I believe they're listed as special. Essentially, they last until you use them. Magic Missile can be cast and held until needed. A first level wizard can cast Magic Missile multiple times and hold them so that when they encounter a battle, they have this missile capability ready right off the bat. And I'm going to elaborate on some of this a little bit later. Give me a minute. Shocking Grasp can be cast and held until needed as well. According to the book, the spell description, Player's Handbook, page 68, quote, a light touch from the opponent does not discharge the spell. What Shocking Grasp does, let me elaborate a bit. Magic Missile, you've got a spell, you cast it, and then you point your finger and the little missile shoots out, and it doesn't miss, and it does, I think, a d4 plus 1 damage or something like that. My point is, it's not big and bad, but for a first level, that it doesn't miss. That's pretty cool, and it does decent damage. So, and you get multiple spell capability as you go higher up in level. Well, if you precast Magic Missile, you see what I'm saying? Now, Shocking Grasp is pretty cool because you can reach out and grab somebody and it delivers electrical damage. Shocking Grasp. Well, it does a d8 damage plus 1 per level. So if you're a 3rd level wizard and you cast Shocking Grasp, it's a d8 plus 3. You see, it does pretty good damage. D8, that's equivalent damage of a sword. So, it's pretty good. Now, the problem is when you cast Shocking Grasp, you don't have to use it right away. You can hang on to it and use it when you want to. The fact that a light touch from the opponent does not discharge the spell means you get to choose when it goes. So you could shake hands and pat people on the back and whatever. It discharges when you want it to. That tells me that to discharge it, it has to be a conscious effort by the wizard. A simple handshake with a random NPC would not do it. Therefore, this spell essentially lasts until discharged. Also, note this is electrical damage. So, and according to the book, it actually says You need to hit somebody with it or hit something metal that is in contact with them. And I did a video a while back called Electrical Damage. Something about, I forget the name of it, but it was essentially, in my games, if you get hit with lightning, for example, you take the damage, and you can save for half damage. But if you're wearing metal armor, you take double the damage. Because you're encased in metal and you get hit with lightning. Okay? Now, transfer that same logic here. You don't have to hit them, you have to touch their metal armor. You see what I'm saying? And they take double damage because it's electrical damage. A lot of dungeon masters don't do that, but they have to allow you to touch the metal armor, and they'll take normal damage even. So, either way, my contention is it's a very useful spell. I have seen people use, they've got the shocking grasp, and they take a dagger and they'll stab somebody, and then slap the back of the dagger, so you get the dagger damage and the shocking grasp. Because the dagger is made out of metal, say. And there's lots of ways to do that. It doesn't limit what you can do. It just tells you how the spell works. There's lots of loopholes. And now, a word of warning: if you're going to do these precasts, I would limit how many. Players will take advantage of this. Essentially, what a precast is during your group is traveling from point A to point B, and it's a 10-day trip by horse. Well, through the course of that day, you've got a first-level wizard. He can effectively cast 10 first-level spells until he gets to the next town. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's 10 precasts. 10 magic missiles, 10 shocking grasp, 5 of each, whatever. My point is, you have to limit what the players could do. Otherwise, they'll go hog wild with it. They will take advantage of those loopholes, and this guy will have magic missiles coming out of his ass for decades. Here's what I do. I limit the number of precast spells to 1 per hand. So he can have a shocking grasp and a magic missile. He can have 2 magic missiles. He can have 2 shocking grasps. Whatever. My contention is 1 precast per hand. That limits what they can do and again, that's what I do. You can do it another way. You can say, well, you can have 5 per hand. You can 3 per hand. Whatever you want to do is up to you. If you're the dungeon master, you can limit it how you want. But my contention is, you don't want to let them go too hog wild with it, or they will. Okay. This basically requires that the magic users think ahead. They can cast multiple precast spells on themselves, and this allows lower level mages to be a bit more effective. So you're not limited to just that 1 spell per day. Say if I'm a first level wizard and I have a magic missile and a shocking grasp, then I can use my actual spell that I get for the day for something a little more useful. Maybe a sleep spell, which, by the way, in my opinion, is one of the more effective spells. Yeah, it only puts them to sleep. But according to the rules, a prone sleeping person is a lot less... It's easy to kill them in their sleep. That's what I'm saying. Just walk over and slit throats with your dagger, if nothing else. A fumble misses, if I'm not mistaken. But my contention is, because that's different in each game, my contention is, at first level, you cast sleep. Anything you're going to be running into in that game is usually probably going to be affected by that sleep spell. And if it's not, you need to turn and run, because he's way out of your league. That's all I'm saying. But like I said, if a magic missile on one hand, a shocking grasp on the other, you can get a sleep spell, you can do an informational spell, some sort of a detection spell, that kind of thing. Makes you a little more useful as a wizard. Saying that you only have the 1 spell a day, and then you're a crappy fighter, that shows lazy. They're not willing to read the books. They're not willing to invest the time to make their character better. You see what I'm saying? Oh, he only has 1 to 4 hit points, so don't get hit. Find a way to avoid damage. Be a better player. And I'm sure there are other spells besides these 2 with similar loopholes that can be exploited as precastable spells. All you have to do is read. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons has a plethora of great points. It's not the primitive game people make it out to be. All players have to do is read and reason out the books. Reason out what's going on. Be sure to discuss this with your dungeon master ahead of time and get his approval. Also, keep in mind, all this precast stuff is nice, but the bad guys get to do it too. And your dungeon master has all kinds of bad guys lined up, because that's his job. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.